Hey guys, so today we're going to be working on the apron. Not this apron, the apron that goes right here. We're going to bring it over to the teardown bench. We're going to get it all disassembled, cleaned up, get all the grease and metal chips out of it, see what parts, if any, need to be replaced, maybe talk a little bit about the various bits and pieces in the operation and how some of this stuff goes together. This is the way that I see it. It may not be the proper way to do it, but we'll figure it out together as we go through the process, and you can see what I'm doing. So let's get to work. We'll come right back and we'll get this thing started. Hi guys, so today we're going to be working on the apron. I moved it from the workbench onto my teardown table here. So what I'm going to be doing on this backside is I'm going to be removing the half nuts, take this cover off, which is where the engagement is and the worm gear for the feed rod that goes through right here. I'm going to spray this all down, clean it all up. On the previous machine I did this gear right here, which is the carriage travel gear connected to the hand wheel. This one is a little bit worn, but not nearly as bad as the other one I had done. I'll see about whether or not I'm going to replace it. Not sure yet. I wouldn't say it was a tremendously difficult job, but it was a kind of a pain in the neck. So you have to take this retainer out. There's a bearing in there, and this gear slides out. It wasn't terrible. There's a cap on the other side here. I may do it while I have it all apart. Over here are the carriage bearing, hold-down bearings. This one is really nasty. This one is a little gritty. So I'll replace those. Kind of interesting on the front side, they weren't, or I'm sorry, on the back side, they weren't shot. What's interesting about this one is there's one clean spot here where this obviously was sliding along on the underside of the ways, which means this wasn't spinning, so it wasn't properly adjusted. This shaft is actually cut on as an eccentric, like a cam, so you loosen the front, I guess it would be like a binder screw, and then with a screwdriver you can spin this and it raises and lowers this bearing so that you just get the right amount of pressure on it. I believe that I don't think it's all that critical. This thing weighs a ton. I doubt it's going to lift, but probably, a thou or so clearance is all you need. So the other thing is up on the top side here is a sort of like this oil bath operation. Yeah, you can see that. So this right here, I don't know if you can see the oil. So the pump, which is down in the bottom here, pumps oil up. It comes into this little cavity. This thing absorbs the oil. It sits here. There's two holes, so I would imagine this is sealed up from the underside of the carriage or the saddle. Seals it off, and then it runs down through these two tubes, and it oils this bearing and then this bearing. So these two copper tubes feed right into the bearing housing. Another place where it goes is right here. There's a little cork gasket, and this feeds oil up into the saddle, which gets it to the ways and also the cross slide ways. So, all right, let's get this off and see what surprises lurk underneath this cover. On my other project, this one was horrendously disgusting, full of just years and years of chips and hardened oil and grease. This machine is just generally in better shape, so I don't think we're going to see quite as much stuff down inside here. Okay. All right, so that doesn't look terrible. Clean all that up. So here's the brass worm gear. Sorry, the worm gear's down here. This is the brass, the other gear, which the name escapes me. I did replace this also on my other machine. This was completely spun off just down to nubs, so this one is in great shape. I would imagine, based on what I'm seeing here, almost nowhere, probably was replaced at some point. You can also see there's another oil line that comes down and it drips oil onto this, which in turn keeps this lubricated. There's some flat bearings in there. I had all this apart on the other machine. Not sure if I'm going to take that all apart on this machine. In order to get this gear out, you have to pull this assembly out here. Bearings feel great. I'm just going to see if I can't clean it up without having to disassemble everything. All right, so the next thing I want to take off there are these half nuts for the threading lead screw. Let's get an impact on there. Now, if I remember, I don't think I could just pull these right out because there's this retainer mechanism. These guys here and these guys. So, as you can see, you have the screw here. It's retained here and here. And then there's a cam mechanism down in here. So what I'll do is I'll pull this off so I can get this all cleaned up. Get you around to the other side here. Take a few things off over here. Again, the handy dandy spanner wrench, pin spanner wrench maybe I'd call it. Good idea how rusty that is. You might have to get a hammer and tap that out. All right, guys, so I just wanted to show you in here, what you're looking at down there. See that cam? Sorry, out of focus. See that cam moving back and forth? So that's the cam that runs the oil pump. So if you look down there, you see that little lever moving up and down. That's the pump, and it's actually right next to this oil level indicator. So whenever you move the carriage back and forth, whether it's by hand or if it's engaged in using auto feed, this runs and it pumps oil. So it's pretty clever. I'm sure most lathes with pumps do it that way, and it works pretty well. Now, the oil doesn't recirculate, so it just sort of drips out of the bottom and gets caught into the sort of pan area below, and it fills up that well in the bottom. All these machines that I've worked on, that well in the bottom is completely filled to the top with oil. Probably just been running for all these years, and it's just the way that it is. These guys right here are the clutches for the feed, cross slide, and carriage travel. And I'm not sure of the procedure to actually adjust them, but I know on the other 10EE it was stalling if under a heavy load, and I just needed to put a screwdriver in here and just give it a little turn, tighten the clutch up a little bit, and that solved the problem. So I'm going to clean this guy up. Hopefully I'm not going to have to take these assemblies off. I will if I have to, but I'm hoping to avoid that. Okay, removing the gear from the feed here. I pulled that off a bunch before I brought you back, so let me get these bearings out of here. Okay. And let's see if I can get this. If I remember, that was a tough thing to mess with last time on the other lathe. For some reason, it was not easy to get out. I must have been into the beard because that one came right out. I know something on this thing was difficult last time, not sure what it was. Okay. There's just a bunch of junk down in the bottom there. I got some cleaner in there. Okay, so I'll continue on my path here of cleaning everything up. And when I see something interesting, I'll bring you back. Right, so there's something I wanted to show you on this. I wanted to test the pump before I buttoned everything back up. I'm in the process of cleaning up the apron here. So in an earlier video I showed you down here is the pump, which actually operates off of either the hand wheel or the drive, the carriage drive. So right here is the oil port that goes up into the underside of the saddle. So as I spin this thing, you'll see, I don't know, can you see that? Let's see, I'm going to get you off of the stand here. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so if you look down in there, I'll point to it. So this right here, that, the end of the screwdriver is the pump lever. And so if I spin it, you can see that cam going like that. So I'll clean up this right here from any oil. And so as I'm turning the gear right now, you can see it's pushing oil up. There you go. So now I know that this oil pump is working. So I got it pretty cleaned up. This table is really handy for this kind of slop work. So I got everything back here really, you know, sort of in a kind of a nice place. I'll keep cleaning everything up and, you know, I guess sanding down some of this, you know, some rough paint and whatnot there. This right here, I forgot about this gasket and the indicator in the back, so I'm going to get a gasket for that. I had to take this cover off to clean a bunch of junk out, and there's a gasket back there, so I'm going to order that gasket. And I may order the gasket for the bottom. If they have it, I'll order it, and then I'm going to take this bottom. This is sort of like the oil pan, if you will. I'll take that off and just clean out, make sure there's no sediment and junk in there from, you know, all these years. And then get it reasonably buttoned up with all the bits on it other than the bling, and then I'll paint it, and then we'll get it mounted up under here. So, love these things. I think they look great. Just fascinating old machines. All right, so I'll keep going.